Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Aurora 4X C#. Let me get my timer up and ready to go. Okay. So, we are still trying to finish up some stuff when it comes to being able to get our frigates out, as well as the light cruisers and heavy cruisers, so that we can build a basically just point defense screen, so that we can actually go and avenge the diplomatic ship that we sent out to GL Virginis. Should be noted that apparently that ship did not have a captain. So, yeah. Well, at least the game claimed it had no leading officer. It might have had a diplomat for all I know, but at the very least it did not have a commander. Or, whatever the actual rank is supposed to be for the... What is it supposed to be? A captain, in this case, actually. But yeah, so we apparently did not have one. I'm a little surprised by that. I don't know why, because it should. I mean, I did, change it after the fact to being conscript because it's technically a commercial vessel. We don't really give a crap about its ability to react necessarily in combat. Well, I guess technically because it's a little bit more front lines, I guess it makes sense. Maybe don't put it as conscript, but generally freighters and things like that, you can actually set to conscript. The difference between a conscript and non-conscript crew is that with conscript, they basically have not gone through the academy. They are just that. Conscripts, they are random people that have been conscripted into the military, or because you'll generally only want to use this on commercial vessels, I guess you could say the merchant fleet or something. I don't know what you'd really refer to it as, because it's admittedly a bit weird in some ways that we build, commercial infrastructure as well in the forms of freighters and tankers and things like that. I can understand tankers to a degree because you might need some for military use. And I guess technically freighters as well. But yeah, that's one of the weird things about this game, is that you're not necessarily just in charge of the military, the direct government. But I guess it depends upon sort of what type of government you're trying to play as. If you're trying to play a command economy type government, or a more laissez-faire type. Technically, laissez-faire would not work particularly well in this game, because I don't think it's possible to ship in... Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I never tried it. I don't know if it's possible to ship infrastructure to a planet that you do not currently have a population on. And the reality is, unless you put your own basic infrastructure, I don't think any population you put down is going to survive long enough for the civilian infrastructure to actually start populating it. But let's go ahead and continue on. Let's get these last bit of techs going. Between parts, I did go ahead and realize that our sort of reserves of fighters are not actually in the right position. Or, well, rather, they don't have any... what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have any maintenance supplies. So they were not doing too great, and one of them was actually needed to get one of its parts repaired. Now, it is actually possible. It should be noted. Previously, it was not possible to refit fighters, but that was a change that apparently happened at some point, I think within the last couple of years, apparently. At least from what I could see on the forums. So realistically, what I should probably do is get ourselves some basic naval shipyards. Specifically, we are looking at a minimum of 4. But initially, I only need 3. The reason for this is that the rules for refitting are 20% of, or between versions, whatever you're refitting from to whatever you're refitting to. So our recon fighter would not be able to be refitted. The difference between 300 tons and 400 tons is more than 20%. Our fighters, however, because they stay at 400 tons, they can be refitted no problem. Our strike fighters, same story. They're 400 tons, they can be refitted no problem. Our assault shuttles, 500 tons no matter what. At least, right now. Obviously, this could change down the road and I won't be able to do refits anymore, but for now, we can do refits, no problem. So I need a minimum of 3. One for the assault shuttles, one for the fighters, and one for the strike fighters. Our recon fighters will have to be redone from scratch in terms of putting them into the field, but I think at this point they will probably stay around 300 tons. So we might need a 4th one down the road, but at least immediately we don't. So let's queue up 3 naval shipyard complexes. Move these to be done immediately after the research facilities are done because I want to refit our stuff while we are building our picket ships, or our point defense ships, because we're gonna have the downtime anyway while we wait. The refits are gonna take, or building those ships is gonna take a while. So why not get some refits ready while we wait? I should probably scrap the O3 because it's not going to get used. Or, any spare O3s because they're not going to see further use. By the time we are looking to get another carrier out, we would already be working on getting the O4s out. Was that the last of what I needed to get our light cruisers and whatnot out? No, I still need the active sensors. And we're not actually currently working on those active sensors. Let's get somebody working on that. Do I have anybody who can use a couple of extra labs? You can, but not nearly enough. Let's get you working on that one, I guess, as well. But yeah, so we're going to have that spare time because of waiting for those ships to get built. So might as well get some refits done. And once those refits are done, I think we're going to be set, more or less. At least for a while. Okay. Research finishing. Speed that along, even though it, I don't think it really makes a difference, but nonetheless, speed that along. Find the next thing. Just going to be new power plant. And then the new engine. And I believe that should be the last of the stuff we need to research, and then we can start getting refits done. Assign any new labs there. Oh, and we picked up a Charug out in the distance. Let's get Quick Reaction Force 2 out there to deal with it. As per usual, initial engagement of 1,000,000 kilometers. Accidentally double pressed, but that's fine. Now, if they had their larger ships, we'd probably already be detecting those because, as we know, the drills are not that great. I think 8 hours might actually be a little too long. Nope. We have 6 more hours until closing. Let's do 1 hour and a 3 hour. Now they run away. We pick up the rest of the fleet. We realize that that's all they have. We readjust orders. 200,000. Minutes, 20 minutes. Oh shit. Game processed things a bit differently that time, and we ended up a little too close. The Augusta has taken a bit of damage, but it'll survive. We will back off. We will have to fix up the Augusta because I don't know why we ended up on top of them. Because the game told us 22 minutes to close. So 20 should not have done that. Because that should have been 20 minutes to close into the distance that I told them to go to. More specifically. But for some reason, we ended up right on top of them. I'm assuming we're led to believe that the enemies basically decided in one of those increments that occurred, one of the sub-pulses, to basically turn around and fly headlong into us. They're all targets. Good to go. Let's get the salvage fleet out here doing their thing. Turn those off, and 5-day increments. Let's continue on. Okay, that's that engine done. Or, excuse me, the power plant done. Still working on the engine, but that doesn't have too much longer. Oh yes, I did end up designing the brand new buoy, the BY-816, as a reminder of what that entails. That is this. Size 8 missile, fairly slow speed, but that doesn't really matter. And it has I give it passive sensors, because I figured the reality is for most of the enemies I would care to detect, namely NPRs, the reality is passives are probably going to be fine because the NPRs are going to have big engines. Well, basically, they're going to be keeping up tech-wise, generally speaking, with us when it comes to an NPR. They're not going to be like the Raiders, who are stuck using relatively early tech to the point where now I could design a ship, like a fast attack craft probably, and it would be more than enough, especially with a swarm of them, to be able to pen the or to be able to deal with a Raider fleet. The only reason I don't do that is the cost of building them just isn't really worth it for me. Especially when you add in that we don't currently have the ability to have a reasonable forward operating base. The only planet that is capable of producing its own maintenance supplies right now is Earth. If I were to build a forward operating base, I would have to actually be shipping constantly maintenance supplies somewhere else just so that I could actually repair and resupply those fast attack craft that I could theoretically build. And that's why I don't. It's just, frankly, not worth it in my eyes right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and get that research started. It should not take very long. And once we get the last of these, you can finally start building our point defense fleet. In fact, do we have... What are we missing? It is the beam fire controls. And that is partly because I actually haven't told them to start researching those. That is the only thing left. In fact, I can actually start the retooling process for a number of things. So the Akagi can switch to the 2155. That will finish in December. The CG Albany can switch. The Acquaint. I don't think I actually have designed a new Acquaint yet. At least the design is not finalized. Well, at least not officially. But I think we can reasonably say that design probably isn't changing. Also, you are stupid fast. You really don't need to be that fast as an escort, but I would have to remove the redundancy of 2 engines or give you significantly weaker engines if I wanted you to be roughly the same speed as a freighter. And I just don't know if I really want to design a separate engine for you. Again, while I haven't done it, using components helps to speed up building stuff. And realistically, I should probably do that. I know roughly how many of the point defense stuff I'm going to be building. I plan to build 4 of the frigates. Or, excuse me, of the escort frigates. At least 2 Amsterdams and at least 2 Agodarts or Agordat, however the hell it's pronounced. I don't even remember who we chose for this. Oh, Italian, of course. Of course it's the Italians. But yeah, so I mean, at least 2 of these cruisers and 4 of these destroyer escorts. I might even go with 4 light cruisers as well. Honestly, it just depends. But I know I'm going to need this stuff anyway, so why not? But yeah, I think we can say that this design is finalized. And I significantly increased your deployment time to 36 months. Which is one of the reasons that your maintenance life dropped from 4.19 years to 3.74 years. But you know what? That's fine. This guy was never actually going to be out for 4.19 years because he only had a deployment time of 18 months. Oh, you are missing your your missile fire control as well. I need to get that done. So retool you to the Coint 2155. Abdil, retool to 2155. Abercrombie. Why is the Abercrombie listed with an XX? Because again, I had not officially decided that this is finalized, and as far as I'm concerned, it is. So retool you for the Abercrombie. This is for the frigate, I believe, because I believe the frigate is only 10,000. Yep, that's correct. Okay, wonderful. Now, components. The big things I'm going to want to build are going to be the engines, because those are the things that are going to take up the most space. So what are the name of the engines? They are Almaza, Marine, Solid Core. Look at that. Stupid amounts of calcite required for each. So, how many do I need? Well, it is 2 per escort frigate, and I plan to have 4 of those, like I said, so that is 8. Four more for the heavy cruisers, which would be another 8, because I want at least 2 of those, bare minimum. And another 4 for the light cruisers, and I'm going to have at least 2 of those. But I might go for 4. It just depends. I'm going to assume just 2. Because at least in this case, unlike what I had in my test, where the only ships I had were these test ships, and they weren't even necessarily using these engines, we're going to have a lot more stuff. We're also going to be having actual, anti-ship missiles that we can fire. So I don't expect us to realistically expend nearly as many missiles as I did during my test, because I'm going to be shooting back at the enemy with missiles anyway. Plus, we're going to have a much longer engagement range, I'm pretty sure, over them. Like, I think their missiles are actually relatively short range, all things considered, compared to ours. If we could just keep the distance, I don't know how fast their stuff is, but if we could at least keep the distance, the reality is they're not going to be able to overtake us. And I could just fire missile after missile at them. Even just using strike fighters, honestly, because they have pretty good range on their missiles. So we're looking at 8, 16, 24, we'll say. That is very, very expensive, and I don't think we actually have enough calcite located on Earth. Luckily, one thing I forgot to mention is that we need to move a bunch of calcite. because we're actually sitting on a fair bit of it on Mars. Yeah, we need like 11,000 galsite for that, and that's not even including refitting the rest of the fleet. Yeah, Jesus, that's gonna use up a ton. But we have 31,000 currently stockpiled on Mars that we need to ship off world. I have ordered another mass driver be sent to Mars, but it has yet to arrive. And we have another 1,500 currently on Venus. Venus also needs another mass driver, but somebody is taking care of that one. They're just not taking care of Mars, apparently. So I may want to temporarily take somebody off their orders and tell them to go to Mars and grab that. Help speed things up. But what else do we need? We will need the 381 active sensors. 6 of those, it looks like. And that uses iridium, which we have a stupid amount of. No problem. Out of curiosity, can I make the armor separate? No? Okay, kind of figured that was the case, but I figured I'd check. Because, you know, maybe I could. We will need at least one of the Afonso stuff. Or, excuse me, 2 at least, actually. I can build ECM and ECCM. But I need the lasers. I need 36 of the lasers. Try to find them in here. There they are. Build me 36 of these. They are relatively cheap with the exception of the corundium. But corundium we have a fair bit of right now. We need 2 power plants, which are the Park Arrows. And by 2, I mean 4. Go to the light cruiser. You need 60 of the Branda Precision Arms. And by 60, I mean 120. And that takes care of most of the big stuff. You need your beam fire controls. Both of you are the same one, correct? Yes, the Patty. Which is actually still being researched, so I can't queue it up right now. The escort frigate needs the missile launchers and the the missile fire control, but that's going to have to wait. Oh, I need to design your magazine. Question is that the final magazine design or no? I think it is. Yes. I have not gotten any tech to allow us to have a better one. So we're going to have like just under 500 missiles in the magazine. That's not including the 25 in the launchers. So they're going to have a total of 524. Almost an even number of, well, I say even number. You know what I mean. Same number of salvos for however many salvos that would be. I can't bother to do the math off the top of my head. So you need 4 of those magazines, but I still need to research them, so I can't do that right now. Did I do your active sensor? I think I did, right? Yes. Yes, okay, yeah, I did. Okay, so that should be most of the big things. They're gonna hold those guys up. Okay, there's the fighter engines. Not logistics. Oof, that's an expensive beam fire control. Did I not tell you to research the missile or the magazine? Nope, I forgot just to tell you to do that because I was about to say, like, I thought I told to do that, but I didn't see it in the missiles thing. But I didn't. Decided just to move on and act as if that was, on purpose. But definitely pretty sure there was supposed to be stuff there. Unload all ship components, unload all minerals. What did we get out of curiosity? We got, ooh, yes, 500 galsite. Good thing, because we need tons of that. 10-centimeter railgun, scrap. Commercial ion drive, scrap. Crappy thermal and EM sensor, scrap. Some ancient, shitty reactors, scrap those. Okay, that would be the buoy finishing, and we will eventually actually, show that off, but we just haven't had much of a need to really bother with trying to show off our buoy system, and it didn't help that, when I initially designed it, I kind of sort of forgot to give it a missile fire control. The thing that's needed for it to be able to use its buoys. Okay, the Abdil and Acquaintance can begin their refits. Refits. Why? Oh. Oh, yes, okay, because there's the Lalande. Is that right? Lalande. Yes. Yes, okay. You have a little under a year before your next trip. This guy, okay, that should be enough time for these guys to do their stuff. Abdil's refit. God, these are expensive on the gal site, and I don't think I got enough gal site to be able to actually refit them all at the same time. Did somebody finally get that mass driver to Mars to help them? No? Still waiting for that? Okay. Seems we're also still waiting for the one to Venus as well, which certainly doesn't help. Yeah, I need another freighter. At least a freighter. It doesn't need to be anything more than just the one freighter. Okay, the Akagi can also begin the refit, but I don't know if I want to do that. Ah, screw it, we will. The Akagi shouldn't be too bad. Beyond the 3,000 gal site, because it doesn't change much. For the most part. The Albany can also begin refitting. That is expensive. Luckily, I only have 3 of those I need to deal with refitting. And the Abercrombie. To the other Abercrombie. Yeah, oof, God. This is going to drain all our Galsite. We're going to have, like, absolutely no Galsite left at the end of all this. Which of the size cities was it that has the Galsite? It is A1, and they have 3 million, and I need to get a lot more of it mining at a significantly faster rate. We get tons of duranium and tritanium, but guess what I don't really need more of? Duranium and tritanium. Well, I guess tritanium is kind of nice, but I don't think we really use it much. It's realistically Galsite that we use, and oh wow, we're kind of low on boronite, but I think that's because we don't have a good place to get boronite, actually, now that I think about it. We actually don't have a place to get boronite at all. That would certainly explain the lack of boronite on Earth, but it helps, again, that we don't actually use it much, so it's fine, I guess. There we go. Epsilon Indy A7 Moon 10 has easily accessible Galsite and lots of it. Question is, though, Epsilon Indy Moon 7, or excuse me, the 10th moon of A7. What are you? You are a... Okay, I don't need to use low gravity infrastructure, which is good. But shipping things over there is gonna take a while. Do I have miners? Do I have mines shipping off to Epsilon Indy already? Because I don't... Damn it, where is it? I was literally just on it, but I keep failing to find it. I see that the game claims we have somebody assigned, but I don't have any mines currently listed under a mount. But that doesn't mean that they haven't already been picked up and shipped over. They're just waiting for them to arrive. That then begs the question, where the hell are they? I wish I could see where you guys are going. What is your full orders, if the game will be so kind as to tell me? I do not know. I can try finding you the old-fashioned way, because apparently it's not going to work this way. You are a large F7, you are 014. Your movement orders take you to unloading mines on Epsilon Indy A3. Yes, okay, so I do already have the mines being shipped over. Wonderful. Okay. Good to know. Let's hide civilians, because I've got way too many civilians. Out of curiosity, do we have any Galsite that we can buy off civilians here in Seoul? I believe the answer is no. Whoops, why are you set to purchase minerals? I don't care to purchase minerals off of you. Nope, we have none in Earth, or excuse me, in Seoul. We have a little bit here in Harper Industries that I could ship to Alpha Centauri, but Alpha Centauri doesn't have a mass driver, so it would actually... So I'm pretty sure the game is smart enough to send, or well, not necessarily smart enough. The game will not take your last mass driver off a planet if there are existing orders to ship to, or if there are existing mass driver destination orders for that planet. However, I don't think the game will prevent you from putting in an order for a mass driver destination, even if that planet does not have a mass driver. But I might be wrong about that because it's not showing Alpha Centauri here as an option. Or excuse me, Alpha Centauri A2 here as an option. So maybe it actually is, which is great if it is, of course. Let's see. So there are two ways that you can pick up minerals that you purchase. Mass drivering them to a planet or sending a freighter out there to pick it up. And in the case of Alpha Centauri, I'm kind of inclined to go with the route of a freighter because I already have a freighter out there. I'll just need to adjust its orders. And that is a fair bit of galsite, and I need galsite. So we're going to do that. Alpha Centauri Mineral Group, where are you currently in your orders? You are in Alpha Centauri. Wonderful. Make sure I get the right ones. It is Harper and Tongass. Load all minerals. Load all minerals. Head back to Sol. Unload all minerals. Refuel, resupply from Colony. Flight Alpha Centauri. Wonderful. Okay. That'll help us out there. It's a bit of extra galsite to sate our needs. Why were you unable to load from Harper Industries? Is it because they hadn't actually stockpiled anything? That's always a possibility. Yeah, I'm inclined to say that it's probably because they hadn't stockpiled anything yet. Okay, that is the missile labs finished. Or, excuse me, the missile magazine, not missile labs. Let's see. Do we have any good for here? Anyone here good at sensors? Who's not currently? Best person, Isabel, who is still busy researching the fire control speed rating. I would love for you to not do that right now and actually get to work on this one. Yes, this means you're starting over from scratch, but when we take into account the build time for getting the new stuff out, it's perfectly fine. This will help us be able to have our turrets track missiles better. This bonus will allow increased tracking speed for beam fire controls engaging missiles based on the length of time the target has been continually tracked on active sensors. Now, granted, I don't think our active sensors that are intended for detecting missiles are necessarily long enough range to get a significant bonus, but it does still help. With these being 38 million kilometers for resolution 1 is pretty good. You compare that to our existing resolution ones that we actually use, they're only 19 million kilometers. Technically speaking, outside of the weight cost, there is absolutely zero reason for us to use the Afonso Barbido Electronics ANSPY 191. At least if you're going to have a light cruiser in the fleet. Well, a light cruiser or an escort frigate. If you have either of those in your fleet, there's zero reason for you to be carrying the 19 million kilometer resolution 1 sensor, because this is a resolution 1 sensor with 38 million kilometers. It is almost as much range as our mid-range or our mid-range active sensors with 46. And it will detect a lot more stuff. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and I think just start having somebody dump some research points into ship build rate. That'll help us out a little bit in the future when it comes to dealing with building up. But we could also go ahead and get to work on building the next generation of laser turrets. I just don't know if I really care for that, all things considered. That's the thing. I just don't know if I really care for it. Let's go ahead and have you. I'm not going to try to butcher your name. Get to work on the small craft electronics countermeasures. And yeah, somebody, Kumari, you get to work on just dumping some points into shipbuilding rate. And when Flavio here finishes up, well, either Flavio or Vasya finishes up, although Flavio will be first. They'll take over with researching that, or at least, again, dumping points into it, because it will help speed up our building. And yeah, we don't have near enough. What would it cost me to try to pump out a freighter real quick? 2,000 galcite, so that's a no-go. That is a no-go. You know what? You know what we're gonna do? Alpha Centauri, don't cycle your orders. Once you get to Earth, you're gonna be done for this go-round. You're gonna pick up the stuff on Mars, you're gonna bring it back. Once you're done with that, then you will continue your current, or well, your actual orders of picking up minerals in Alpha Centauri and bringing them back to Earth. Okay, wonderful. You've arrived. How are we doing? We still have 5,000 to go. Wonderful. Alpha Centauri Mineral Group. Go to Mars. Load all minerals. Come to Earth. Unload all minerals. Unload all minerals. You have 100,000 of stockpile. There is 121,000 total resources, so I'm going to tell you to do this trip twice. Unload all. Go to Mars, load all. Go to Earth, unload all. Refuel, resupply. Research finished. Got nothing else really to research. That's the issue we're running into. The stuff I care about? Yeah, basically done. While I don't plan to actually use particle beams, at least, right now, but, plans could change. Particle beams are lasers that actually do damage to ships, is probably the best way to describe them, at least when it comes to shooting at stuff at range, but they, of course, are significantly slower firing. Although they do tend to have more range, so it kind of evens out in a way. Still didn't pick up everything. Need you to go back to Mars one more time. Oh, it's probably because you have 100,000 tons of cargo space, but not all minerals are 1-to-1 in terms of cargo, usage. So you have one last trip that I need you to do, and then you should be good to go. Also, probably should send you to Venus as well, because Venus has some as well. Not tons per se, but it does have some. And there we go. That gets us quite a bit more calcite, which I think might be just barely enough to eke by with our production. But I'm going to go ahead and have you go to Venus real quick and grab those as well. You'd only need the one trip to go to Venus. Wonderful. And Alpha Centauri, go here, load up minerals. Harper Industries, load all minerals. Tongas, or however the hell it's pronounced. Load up minerals. Come back here, go to Earth, unload. Refuel, resupply, cycle orders, go, enjoy. They should have some stuff stockpiled for me now, at least a little bit. Yep, not tons, but it's something. So that should help us out a bit. What the hell do you mean we're unable to load none? Oh, okay, yep, you're already full, apparently. Don't know why. There should not have been that much stuff. And I swear I told you to unload from Earth, or unload at Earth previously, but whatever. I don't know how the hell you picked up that much stuff at Alpha Centauri. Because literally the only thing it produces is uridium. And it doesn't produce that much. That's what, 84 mines? Yeah, if my math's right, that would be 84 mines to get you to a nice, even 400. So let's go ahead and get the civilian population to move some more mines out there. Mercassium has been exhausted on Mars. That, could be an issue. I don't recall if we have Mercassium elsewhere. We got some on the moon. Tons of it on Syseti B1. Speaking of, why do you have 401 mines? I don't know. But I don't. Whoops. But I don't like odd numbers like that. So I'm going to tell you to order 99 more. This should be what? 180? If my math is correct. Yeah. Because if it was a flat 100, it'd be 181. I'm only ordering 99, so yeah, that should be correct. Oh, yeah, we got a spare lab lying around. Here we go. Dump that into the advanced spinal mounts. We're almost done building those research labs. And then we have the fun time of building the missile, or not the missiles, the naval shipyard so that we can refit our small craft, which should only be like a week or so each, generally speaking. Because they really are not that expensive. We could literally build small craft like we were doing in the past. But you know what? Refitting is a bit easier when you consider the management of trying to get everything into the right squadron again. Okay, the coins of the Lalande group have finished, but as a result of this, the game did cancel their orders. So I need to manually re-enter, which means I need to start their countdown for going out again from scratch. Which is fine. Out of curiosity, Lalande, what do you got for me? You've got a fair bit of corundium and mercasium. Okay, good. Because again, Mars ran out of mercasium, and corundium is a very important resource. It's the resource we use to build our mines. Namely, the automated mines we use to get corundium in the first place. Yeah, because, you know, that's a thing. Now, why are you at 91? Oh, yes, because Venus. Yes, of course. Forgot. Venus needed some more. I need that anyway to get the Galsite. So do I want to reorder this? Because the reality is, the reality is the automated mines, or the naval shipyards should not take very long. So we're going to go ahead and modify this to do a 50% capacity of manufacturing to it. In fact, we're just going to set all these to like 50%. That way they jump in whenever there is whenever something finishes. And the reality is none of these should take very long to build, generally speaking. The longest thing is, I think, going to be the automated mines, and that's partly just because of the sheer number of them. The Gauss cannons might also take a fair bit of time. I don't actually know what their build point cost is, and the game doesn't say it, just lists their wealth and the resources needed for them. So unless wealth is the item used here to tell you basically how much production is necessary to build it, which I don't think is the case, yeah, these are going to take a fair bit. But I think compared to, you know, building an actual building, they shouldn't take very long. Okay, the Akagi and the Abdil's finished. Now we just need to wait for the Albanese to finish. Why do we not have the Albany of Carrier Strike Group, or excuse me, Quick Reaction Force 2 here? Is it because it's damaged? Because that's the only thing that would make any sense to me, is that because of damage to the armor, the game refuses to allow it to be refit. Which could be the case, because I didn't see it. So if that is the case, let's go ahead and get some quick repairs done. You could build separate repair shipyards if you wanted to. And then you can build these up to the largest size of ships that you build. I believe they get slipways, same as a normal shipyard. The difference is that if you are trying to build a bunch of ships simultaneously and do repairs, repair yards can sometimes be useful because they don't take up a slip yard that could have been used to build a ship if you need to do a repair. And yep, that was the reason why that I was not allowed to do the refit, is because you were damaged, which, personally I feel is silly. Why not just tack a repair job onto the order and, extend it? Be like, oh, because we got to patch up the armor before we can even do the refit, unless you're replacing the armor anyway. Which is, again, a reason why I think it's silly that you can't do a refit on a ship that needs to be repaired. Because if you're replacing the armor anyway, what does it matter if the existing armor is damaged? You're just going to be ripping it off anyway. And if you're using the same armor, then just treat it as if you're needing to repair it and tack on like an extra week or something onto the order, whatever the cost would have been to repair. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that's the way that should work. Because it just seems silly to me. But whatever. The refits of the Albany are almost done. Let's see. Your missile launchers I forgot to also research. So I can at least begin the retooling. Well, I say begin the retooling process. That's not actually true. I can, because you always get that first retool for free, which is nice. So I can actually refit the CA at Gordot immediately. And the CL. It is CL, right? Yeah, CL. Why do I not see you? Oh, because you're slightly over 30,000 tons. Okay. What can I rip off to get you back under? Looks like it would be engineering space, probably. And then we can use maintenance storage to bring you back up. And CL Amsterdam. Gets you to a 4% IFR, which is a bit higher than I would like, but we'll live. Don't want to hold off on actually ordering the builds, though, right now. You know what? No, we're not going to. Unassigned ships 2 of the Argonauts, or not Argonauts, Gordots. This will be out March, not taking into account component usage, which I am actually going to go ahead and just move up to the top. Screw it. These are much more important to me. And I'm actually going to modify this to a 50% order so that we can start getting those done. We're going to hold off on issuing the build orders. Damn, it's going to... Well, then again, you are building 24 of them and you're only using half the production ability. Jesus, that's going to take forever. Realistically, I should have started building those much sooner. Also, my timer went off a while back, so next time the game pauses, we will end this part. But I think, depending upon exactly what we run into, we are probably going to have a situation where in roughly 2, maybe 3 parts, we will start moving to engage the enemy. What is this one? Central Command is not good enough. You need a Vice Admiral. What? China Republic Fleet Forces Command. Rank of Admiral required. Oh. Okay, yeah, that's fine. For command of the first fleet, we need to go up to an Admiral upper half. So a couple people get promoted and somebody else just takes over entirely. You guys are good to go, just double checking. Yep, okay. Yeah, the reality is we have a ton. Look at this. 762 light, or it's not light, lieutenant commanders. We have far, okay, and it looks like somebody did not take over the admiral role here. Game, I can tell you right now, Elmer Sprengel can be promoted, no problem. How do I know? Because I literally just did it. They may not have tons of promotion score, but they can easily fill that role. And if not, I'm pretty sure we have probably a lieutenant commander who probably could afford to do it, realistically speaking. You're just not wanting to promote somebody. In fact, you could have even double promoted this person, whose name I'm not going to pronounce because I would absolutely butcher it. They have they have 6,000 promotion score on hand. You could have double promoted them. But no, for some reason, you just did not want to do it. But yeah, we have just tons and tons of lieutenant commanders that have no orders. Look at all these unassigns. And the funny thing is, it's not like we're taking the route of just let anybody in. We literally have the best training level of level 5, which is the best. As you can see, mostly when it comes to the crewmen and junior officers. And we only get 150 officer graduates a year, though granted I say it's only 150. That is a lot of people, if we're being honest. 150 people graduating from our Naval Academy. Well, not even necessarily our Naval Academy. That's just our academies in general, I believe, technically speaking. That can be scientists, generals. Well, not generals, but, ground forces commander, naval commanders. Technically, it could also be governors, although we don't yet have our governor academy, and I do plan to build one. I haven't figured out where. But considering that Epsilon Indy is going to be considered our new soul, basically, maybe we'll build it there. That seems like a fun place to build an academy, is out in Epsilon Indy. I just, need to queue up building some more academies, which we could do. I can queue it up, no problem. Military Academy. Also, why it's Military Academy, I don't know. Build me 5 of those once you have the opportunity. You've got a lot of stuff you got to build first, but eventually you'll build that. Also, what is our sector command at right now? It is actually only at 2. Fine. Yeah, we could do that. That's okay. Yeah, that'd be fine. Cargo Fleet 1, how are you doing? Oh boy, that maintenance. Also, how quickly are you traveling? 4,600. Okay. Why so slow? Your Block 4 freighters, which travel only at 4,600. That would explain it. Did I design new freighters? I did. I still need to finalize them, though, because I don't want them to be bigger, necessarily. So I need to figure out a way to get the size down a bit. And by a bit, I mean like 3,000 tons. Which might involve stripping an engine. Which is the obvious thing to do. Because I have no other real way of shaving off 3,000, almost 4,000 tons. But yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and probably overhaul our freighters again soon. But your deployment is way, way too long. And it is going to cause problems. Potentially for the escorts. Especially if you guys get attacked. That's the main thing. Oh, so that morale is... Oh, boy. Yeah, you guys are going to head back to Earth. I don't know what I had you shipping. It was probably infrastructure, I'm guessing. But yeah, no, you guys are coming back to Earth. It's going to take you 3 months to get back. Hopefully you do that before the morale plummets. I probably should have told you guys, well, I don't have an order for rest and relaxation. That's the thing. There is literally no order at Earth for rest and relaxation. You can refuel, resupply, but that does not have them take R&R as, I mean, it is a form of R&R, just not for the crew. And this process does not take nearly long enough for it to be able to actually, refuel, or, not refuel, for the crew to relax. So yeah, that doesn't really work. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this part. I will see you all next time. Like I said, I'm thinking we will probably have our ships built and start moving out to avenge the destroyed diplomatic ship that totally had a commander, we will say. And invade Geo Virginis, which I fully expect to go swimmingly, but of course, now that I've said that, something can and will go horribly wrong, I'm sure. But we're going to try and avoid that if at all possible when that time comes. But like I said, that's probably 2, maybe 3 more parts out. Depends a little bit on whether or not we get attacked by the raiders. Because those guys, especially if they send a big attack, that slows us down quite a bit. But so long as we don't get a big attack, we'll probably be okay. But yeah, so I will see you all next time. Quick reminder, if you want to stay up to date with the channel so you know when channel updates are going on, I highly recommend you join my Discord server. You can find a link to it down below in the description. If you want to support the channel financially, the major way to do that is going to be my Patreon or Streamlabs, depending upon how you want to support the channel. If you want to do monthly support, I recommend Patreon. If you want to do one-time support, then I would say go and do Streamlabs, because it just works better for doing one-off donations periodically. But yes, so I will see you all next time. Glory to the Republic.